Witness testimony is over in the murder trial of Joseph Elledge. I'll tell you what's next.
And a local pediatrician weighs in vaccination plans for younger kids. This is KOMU 8 News at 6.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
Today, jurors heard from the last witnesses in the Joseph Elledge murder trial, including another few hours of testimony from Elledge himself. Today, describing what he did with the shovel he used to bury Mengshi Ji and answering whether or not he was trying to hide the body from police. Good evening, everyone. I'm Noah Klein. Thanks so much for joining us. The jury was sent home earlier today. Closing statements will happen tomorrow. KOMU 8's court reporter Peyton Headley was in court all day. Peyton, the defense's final expert witness, admitted he wasn't able to determine how Mengshi Ji died.
Today, the jury heard from a medical pathologist. He was the third and final witness for the defense. He helped with the autopsy for Ji's body and answered questions about her cause of death. And that's a question that no one has been able to answer so far: how Ji died. And his response to both sides: he doesn't know. The defense asked if it's possible if Ji died from a subdural hematoma after Elledge pushed her and she hit her head on the ground. He said it's possible, but there's no way for him to determine that through skeletal remains. The defense also asked about the potential of Elledge being able to break Ji's ribs from performing pressing maneuvers on her back during a massage on their bed. He said it seemed very unlikely, even impossible. The prosecutor argued they don't need cause of death because they know Elledge killed her.
You absolutely, let's make this real clear, you did not rule this cause of death or manner of death as being an accident, correct?
That's correct.
This morning, Elledge spent another 3 hours on the witness stand after spending nearly 8 hours testifying yesterday. Prosecutor Dan Knight continued his cross-examination, trying to show the jury that Elledge intended to kill his wife. Knight asked Elledge about how hard he says he pushed Ji the night before she died and where she hit her head, even asking him to demonstrate. He said he doesn't know and he couldn't demonstrate. He also asked Elledge what he did after he buried his wife. He said he threw away the shovel in a garbage compactor at an apartment complex off Grindstone and then went home to call 311 and file a missing person report.
You took responsibility for the things that you did, correct?
Yes, I did.
Told the jury how you felt about it?
Yes.
Did you ever intentionally try to harm or kill Mengshi?
And court will reconvene tomorrow morning at 8:30 with closing arguments. Once closing arguments are over, it's likely that the jury will go into deliberation, meaning we could have a verdict as early as tomorrow. Reporting live in Columbia, Peyton Headley, KOMU 8 News.
Peyton, thank you. After today's final witness testimony, I sat down with former prosecutor Bill Tackett about what could happen tomorrow. What is the defense going to aim to prove tomorrow in closing arguments?
Well, they're going to say what Joseph Elledge said on the stand, and that is this is a simple case, tragic as it is. He pushed this woman. She went to bed. He didn't know she died. He gets up and then for 3 days he loses his mind and throws her in the trunk and goes and does all this conduct. That's a hard thing to sell on the back end. On the front end, though, you've got to prove that it wasn't just a push, and that's what made the medical examiner so critical today.
I'll have more from that interview tonight at 10. For a full look at today's events in court, go to KOMU.com. The Boone County Sheriff's Office thinks a man charged with murdering another man in his home might be in Nebraska or Iowa. Mark Achterberg was last seen fleeing the scene in a red Ram 1500 pickup truck. Deputies responded to a report of a gunshot wound Monday in the 5900 block of North Kent Drive. When they arrived, they found Justin Stidham lying in the basement floor in a pool of blood. A woman who says she's Stidham's girlfriend told KOMU 8 News that Stidham was friends with the suspect.
Mark came upstairs and he said, "I shot him." And I freaked out and I ran downstairs and Justin was laying on the basement floor bleeding out.
After he was shot, Stidham was taken to University Hospital, where he later died. The Boone County Sheriff's Department asked that anybody with information of Achterberg's whereabouts contact the Sheriff's Office immediately. All right, Kenton, thank you. A state law that outlines police officer rights is affecting how Columbia's Citizens Police Review Board does its job. That board is meeting tonight. KOMU 8's Steffi Roche is at City Hall with more on why the NAACP is concerned with these changes. Steffi.
Noah, the meeting happening right now is the first Citizens Police Review Board meeting since the Police Bill of Rights was added to the city code. At November 1st City Council meeting, the council voted to update the city code to include the new rules for police officers. A few of the new changes are that officers cannot be questioned by more than 2 investigators, and citizens will have only 10 days to file an appeal after the police chief makes a preliminary determination about their complaint. Mary Ratliff, the president of the Columbia chapter of the NAACP, voiced her concerns in an email addressed to Columbia Mayor Brian Treese and city council members. KOMU8 News was also CC'd on that email. In it, she said, quote, "This is very disappointing for me to see Columbia falling in line with the national trend to abandon efforts to right the wrong done many Black Americans as far as fairness in law enforcement goes." End quote. I reached out to Ratliff for further comments, but did not hear back.
On a personal opinion, not of the board, because the board has not made an opinion about that decision, I would say that it's definitely hindered a lot of the abilities to get some things done in a timely fashion.
Council member Carl Scala spoke to me over the phone. He said he shared concerns with Ratliff, but didn't have the power to change things. He said to avoid a potential lawsuit for going against state law, the city council, quote, "decided to vote in compliance with state law," end quote. Other items on the agenda include elections and discussions about mental health. Reporting live in Columbia, Steffi Roche, KOMU8 News.
All right, Steffi, thank you. There are now more places to get kids vaccinated who are 5 to 11 years old. MU Healthcare is holding its first clinic for this age group right now. Columbia Public Schools will hold clinics for students to get their first shot starting next Monday. However, schools won't be able to give that second dose until students return from winter break in January. The district says parents can choose to go somewhere else if they don't want to wait. One pediatrician says she thinks parents should follow the current recommendations.
The most data that we have supports the current recommendations of the 3-week in between vaccines and in between doses. And I think it's a better idea to stick with those guidelines and recommendations that we have.
Blunt says that it is too early to see if kids will need booster shots. MU Healthcare's clinic goes until 8 tonight at the South Providence Medical Center. There is another one on Saturday. Missouri has joined 10 states challenging President Joe Biden's vaccine mandate for healthcare workers. The administration now requires millions of healthcare workers to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Federal contractors and businesses with more than 100 employees are also required to get vaccinated. The lawsuit says the vaccine requirement is unprecedented, unreasonably broad, and infringes on states' rights. Biden's administration says the rules supersede state policies and are necessary. Coming up, how a local group is helping teachers improve their classroom. And find out how you can get a new job behind the wheel.
Temperatures cooling into the middle 40s here tomorrow morning with this rainfall, then just middle 50s tomorrow afternoon with sunshine and wind coming in. We drop down into the 30s starting for our Friday as we head into the weekend. Track everything through that weekend into next week coming up.
Welcome back. Some Jefferson City schools got a surprise today. Money for educational programs. The Jefferson City Schools Foundation presented grants to several different schools today. KOMU8's Reagan DeTrolio is in the studio to tell us more about where that money's going. Reagan.
The JC Schools Foundation awarded grants to fund school projects and equipment that will help students in math, literacy and reading, and leadership development. The foundation received multiple application reviews from teachers with creative ideas on how to improve the learning environment. Some of these grants went to teachers who propose education technology tools that guide students in reading to inventions like a school radio tower. Mid-America Bank funded the grants totaling $7,000.
We reached out to Mid-America Bank knowing they were new to town and that they wanted to make an impact, not only to our community, but specifically into the public schools.
Jefferson City High School received grant money to help start a student radio station.
Over the last couple of years or so, ever since our big closure from COVID, we've been trying to get this project off the ground. We applied for a couple of grants over the years to make a low-power AM radio broadcast tower here at the school.
The project is called J Radio. The school received $1,500 in grant money to make it happen. In the studio, I'm Reagan DeTrolio, KOMU8 News.
Welcome back. Missouri Workforce Development is hosting its free training for people wanting to get a commercial driver's license. CDLs are needed for truck drivers and bus drivers, both jobs need in demand right now. Today's training took place at the Missouri Jobs Center in Jefferson City. The truck industry is experiencing a nationwide shortage where drivers are needed. The program is for low-income people. Those who meet certain criteria will get paid training, job placement. One supervisor says a grant will help waive fees for applicants.
With this grant that's being offered, it would pay for all their schooling costs as well as dormitory costs.
The next training is scheduled for November 15th in the Rolla area. A full list of those trainings can be found on our website over at KOMU.com.
Then we are colder through the weekend, highs just in the 40s there with some wind chill.
We do have some breaking news we want to report to you. That murder suspect we brought earlier from the murder out of Boone County has been caught in Iowa, so a new development there. We'll continue to keep you updated. Right now, the most up-to-date information is going to be on KOMU.com. But for now, that is the new update. He's been found, caught in Iowa. His name is Mark Achterberg. I'll have the latest tonight at 10. For now, we'll see you.